Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day. So just hanging out in Tarpon, waiting for Bill to show up, so I decided to do a quick video. So today what we're going to talk about is, you ever hear the term halfback when it comes to somebody moving to Florida and then moving out of Florida but not all the way back? And I'm not talking about football. So basically, we call people halfbacks when, say, they move from the Northeast or the Midwest or something, and then they move to Florida and they realize it's not for them. And then what happens is they decide to move out of Florida, and it could be many reasons why they're moving out of Florida, and they move back to halfway. So a common thing here in Florida is people move here, and then it's from New York or New Jersey or the Northeast, and then what they're doing is they're moving to Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee. So those are the people we call halfbacks. They don't go all the way back to where they came from, but they're closer. There's other reasons: closer to family, easier drive to where they're coming from. But that's what we're going to talk about. And there was a really interesting article that came out. It's called "Florida Transplants Fleeing in Droves Over Relentless Heat and Damaging Hurricanes." So we're going to talk about that today. So in the meantime, do me a favor. If you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel and it's greatly appreciated. So let's get started. The article goes on to say, the grass apparently is not greener in Florida. Thousands of Florida transplants who moved to the Sunshine State during the pandemic are packing up to move elsewhere, complaining of relentless heat, damaging hurricanes, and dangerous wildlife. Okay. We did have a pretty active hurricane season in some areas of Florida, and I know 2 or 3 people that bought here, and the hurricanes scared the hell out of them, and one of them actually, the house they just bought got flooded. It was near here, and they're like, okay, we're out of here, we can't take it anymore, and they moved back where they came from. Not all the way back, they went halfway back, so we'll call them a halfback. So the heat, that's what when it comes to the heat, you need time to get used to the heat, especially June, July, August, even September. It gets really, really hot, really humid, and I won't go into all the details, but like I always tell everybody, if you're moving to Florida and you come visit us in the winter, and you're planning to live here because of the way the weather was in the winter, forget about it. What you need to do is come June, July, and August and hang out for a couple of months and see how you can handle the heat. Some people just can't handle the heat, but honestly, in my opinion, over time, you get used to it, and there's plenty of air conditioning. Dangerous wildlife. I have no idea why they're talking about dangerous wildlife when it comes to Florida, because I'm a home inspector, I really don't, I go everywhere. I really don't run into any dangerous wildlife. I don't know if they're talking about like alligators or sharks, because that's ridiculous, but I don't understand that one when they say dangerous wildlife. But if you guys could think of what's dangerous about the wildlife here in Florida, let me know. All right, let's continue. More than 700,000 people drawn by the promise of sunny weather, no income tax, lower costs moved to Florida in 2022, including 90,000 from New York State, according to the census data cited by NBC News. All right, here's the deal. A lot of people are saying, you know what, I can't take New York anymore. I'm leaving New York. It's too expensive. And they're like, I'm going to go to Florida because Florida is more affordable. And there's no income tax. The problem with that is you may not have an income tax in Florida, but your homeowner's insurance, your property taxes, and your car insurance is crazy amount of money. Okay, especially the homeowner's insurance and car insurance. When you come here and then you're buying a house, say you're buying a house for $600,000, and then you see it on Zillow and they say, oh, the taxes are only $2,000 a year. I can afford that. That's a lot cheaper than in New York. You have to realize it's what the previous owners are paying, and your taxes are going to adjust based on what you paid for it or the current value. So forget about what the current owners are paying, because that means nothing. You have to look at what you're going to pay, and you go to the county websites, type in the address and say what you're going to be paying for the house, and you get an estimate of what your taxes are going to be. Go by that. Homeowners insurance, in some areas, you'll be lucky to even be able to get homeowners insurance. That's how crazy that is. And car insurance, don't even get me started on that one. I've been dealing with the car insurance situation. No, knock on wood, no tickets, no accidents, and my car insurance still goes up $1,000, $1,200. So it's not about cheaper here, because that's out. You know, when people come down here saying, oh, it's cheaper, it's not cheaper. It's very expensive to live in Florida. So almost 500,000 people moved to Florida in search of a better life had decided to move out after becoming disillusional with the Sunshine State in 2022. It's true. People move to Florida, think it's going to be one big vacation. You know what? Before I moved here full time, I had a condo here, and I would come visit like a lot. I would come here probably once every 6 weeks and stay for 4 or 5 days. And it was one big vacation. But when I moved here full time, that went away quickly. And it makes no difference if I'm here or back in New York or the Northeast. It's a place that you live in. But the benefits here is the weather is much better. And me, I'd rather be hot and humid than freezing and walking on ice and cleaning off snow. All right, so let's go on. I don't want to butcher the name, so I won't even say it, but this husband and wife bought a home in West Palm Beach area where they decided to pursue a more relaxing, affordable life. He landed a job as an emergency care doctor, and his wife became a teacher. But they soon realized they made a mistake. Some have called the dream of moving to Florida a complete fallacy. It is. I know a lot of people that come here thinking one thing, and then after 6 months or a year, they realize it's something totally different. Listen, personally, I love Florida. I really do. I enjoy it. The storms don't bother me. It's, I love the fishing. I love the weather, but it's not for everybody, and we're big in jobs. Hospitality is big down here, but there's a lot of tech jobs coming here now too. But it's growing, but you really have to. I really believe that if you're moving to Florida, you need to rent for the first year or so, and then see how you like it before you jump into a house and purchasing and moving all your stuff, to Florida. Okay, let's continue talking about them. Okay, they said they had a good salary, but were barely making ends meet. They had zero quality of life, he told the news outlet. See, they came down here and they're like, oh wow, this is a good job. And his wife is a teacher, but hey, they realized very quickly that by the time you pay property taxes, car insurance, homeowners insurance, and just basic cost of living in Florida, they realized the money that they thought they were making that was good enough, it really wasn't. The doctor said the commute was a nightmare. The cost of their homeowners association fees have doubled, and he felt unsafe after the state passed the law allowing people to carry guns without a license. All right, I got my 2 cents on that one. So basically, homeowners associations, I did plenty of videos on homeowners associations, and some of them get outrageous, especially condo associations, homeowners associations. They could double it because their insurance costs go up, so they have to pass that expense on. So you might be paying $300 or $400 a month for association fee on a condo complex, and then next thing you know, you're paying $1,000. A lot of things have changed in Florida, so you got to look before you buy something. You have to look at the reserves and see how well the association is handling their money, and if they have reserves, or if they're going to have a special assessment, because that's really important. Because they're right on that part, you know, that the association fees could double very fast. All right, the gun part. You know what? I haven't been following that. I never worried about it. I think there's crime and problems anywhere in the country that you are. I don't feel unsafe in Florida. Maybe certain areas I would feel unsafe, but overall, I don't have a problem. But each to his own. Okay, the article continues. Everyone is walking around with guns there. That's not true. I know a lot of people and nobody carries guns. I actually have a permit and I don't carry, you know. I consider myself a conservative guy, but if you want to carry a gun, you should be licensed. There should be some sort of process. On that opinion, I kind of agree. I think that you know, people should take safety courses. You know, I'm a believer in, you know, not everybody should have access to guns, but I'll leave it at that because I know that's a hot topic, but it is what it is, you know. But again, I don't think a lot of people carry guns. All right, let's go on to the next story. Jody Cummins, who moved to Palm Beach area from Connecticut in 2021, shared a similar story. It wasn't a utopia on any level that I thought it would be. Cummings told the outlet, I thought Florida would be an easier lifestyle. I thought the pace would be a little bit quieter. I thought it would be warmer. Warmer? It gets hot here. I don't get that one. So I didn't expect to be literally 100 degrees at night. All right, so the paragraph says before, they thought it was too warm, and now I didn't expect to be 100 degrees at night. It was incredibly difficult to make friends, and it was expensive, very expensive, she says. Adding that she thought she'd make more money as a private chef due to the lack of income tax. Again, this is the stuff I was talking about. People coming down here thinking it's cheap. Florida is not even the retirement capital right now. I think people are actually retiring from Florida and moving to places like Tennessee and Georgia. You know, they're leaving Florida to retire. So think about that, you know, and saving on income tax. Yeah, we don't have an income tax here, but whether you pay homeowners insurance, property taxes, and car insurance, that more than makes enough, you know, makes up for income tax that you save. You're going to be spending it either way. Money's money, you know? And the 100 degrees at night, I don't really remember any nights being 100 degrees. I don't know, maybe, you know, down south someplace, but maybe it feels like 100 degrees when it's hot and humid, but I really don't remember any time that it hit 100 degrees at night. I remember hitting 100 degrees during the day, but not at night. Again, she also says traffic and HOA fees have been a headache for Floridians. Yes. Traffic, especially in the winter when the snowbirds are here, that's people that just come here to get away from the snow and the ice, and then they go back. It is. Traffic is ridiculous. Even traveling, you know, during spring break and during the winter, a trip that usually takes me 20 minutes in the summer might take me 35 minutes in the winter when everybody's down here. Traffic is getting worse and worse and worse. I moved to an area that I thought was going to be more rural, and the traffic wasn't that bad. That was 11 years ago, and now traffic is incredible. So, and the HOA fees, you know, we talked about that so many times. All right, so let's talk about another one. Tim Short, okay? Homeowners insurance rates in Florida spiked 42% last year to an average of $6,000 a year. And car insurance is more than 50% higher than the national average, according to NBC News. which cited the Insurance Information Institute. Okay, I don't need to elaborate on that. We talked about that many times. Moving to Florida, expect to pay a good amount of property taxes, a good amount of car insurance, and a good amount of homeowners insurance. And those three things is enough to get people to say, I am out of here, I am not living in Florida, and I'm not staying here because I cannot afford it. All right. After 6 months, Cummins decided that she had enough with the high cost of car insurance, rent, and food, as well as traffic and searing temperatures. The struggle to make ends meet after moving to Florida has sent some new residents packing. It's true. That's a true statement. Okay? It's a very true statement. I've been so disenchanted by Florida so quickly, she told NBC News. There was this feeling of confusion and guilt about wanting to leave, of moving there, then realizing that it's not anything I thought it would be. She's not the only one. That happens all the time. People move here. I know people, because when I do inspections, they just move into Florida. And then, I keep in touch with a lot of my clients, and then they're saying, hey, you know what? Hey, we're moving back, or we're moving halfway back, and they're turning into halfbacks because they thought it was going to be one thing, ended up being another thing. So, all right. Meanwhile, Barb Carter has decided to head back to Kansas after living in Florida, where she sold her home in Orlando area at a $40,000 loss and left behind her children and grandkids. That's happening a lot. So people are buying houses, or they bought houses at the peak, okay? And then when they bought them in 21, 22, when everything was crazy and people were overpaying for houses, what they did is they're like, okay, I'm leaving now, and they can't get their money back. You got to pay the commissions, you got to pay the title stuff, all the closing costs. So what are they doing? Or their job is telling some of them, hey, you have to come back to the office. You can't remote work anymore. So they're like, all right, what should I do? Should I stay in Florida or should I go back? And a lot of people are taking losses on their house because if you bought during the peak, you need to hold on to it for a few years and wait till the prices go back up to even break even, in my opinion. I'm not a realtor, but that is a true statement. A lot of people are losing money that bought at the peak that want to get out of Florida. They're like, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to leave Florida, and it's worth it to me to lose some money. Among the reasons she cited were infestations that caused $9,000 in damage. Maybe she's talking about termites. Hurricane Ian, which destroyed the roof on her 62nd birthday, and an inability to find a surgeon to remove a tumor from her liver. All right. I'm not sure, but I found a lot of doctors here. I needed doctors. I think Florida has some really good doctors. Like every place in the United States has some good doctors. You just have to search. There's good doctors and there's bad doctors. You got to find them, And the hurricanes, I understand. If you're in Florida, you're taking that risk for a hurricane. There's nowhere to hide in Florida from a hurricane, in my opinion. And the damage, we have termites, but you can do preventive stuff, so you don't get termites, So many people ask me, why would you move back to Kansas? I tell them the same thing. You got to take your vacation goggles off, Carter told the outlet. It's true. She's correct. You're going to move to Florida. You're going to think it's one big vacation. It's not going to be. All right, let's do another story. For me, it was falsely promoted. Once I living there, I thought, this isn't all the guys have cracked it up to be. Connecticut transplant Veronica Blasky said rising costs drove her out of Florida less than 3 years after she and her husband decided to move to the Sunshine State. So, a lot of people, she was speaking to a lot of people, and they were telling her, how great things are, and then they realize it wasn't. But the people that were telling her how great things are, might, have a different opinion than her. Like some people tell me, hey, should I move to Florida? What's it like? In my opinion, I think it's great. If you move to the right area and you understand, the pitfalls of Florida. At the start of the pandemic, he was offered a job making more money as a manager for a landscaping company, and she looked forward to the weather and a more comfortable lifestyle. But at the beginning of 2023, Blasky said the couple was hit with a bulldozer of cost. Again, her homeowner's insurance company threatened to drop her coverage if she didn't replace the roof. From $16,000 to $30,000 job. It's true. Insurance companies are very, very strict. She also was expecting her home insurance rates to double, which we talked about. So basically, they faced the mounting property taxes and the homeowner association fees jumped from $326 to $480 a month. Her husband took a second job on the weekends to cover the spiraling costs. She said, my little part-time job, $600 to $700 a month, went to paying either car insurance or homeowner's insurance. And forget about groceries, Blasky said. We worked in retail, told NBC. There are hidden things that people don't know about. Make sure you have the extra money saved somewhere when you need it, she added. When her husband and former boss in Connecticut asked if he's willing to return, the couple jumped at the opportunity and put Florida in the rearview mirrors. But do you notice the trend with these stories? It's the same trend. They come here thinking it's going to be one big vacation, and it's not. And then they're all saying the same thing. Car insurance, homeowner's insurance, taxes, groceries. I'm not saying groceries is cheap anywhere else, but just the cost of living. Florida is not what it used to be. Florida, I still think, is a great place, but you have to be able to afford it. There's still some affordable areas, in my opinion, in Florida, but they're less and less and less. And if you're planning to move here and thinking you live near the water or on the water, expect to pay just to get insurance and stuff. And if you're one of the few that pay cash for their home and you want to self-insure, you could do that and put the risk in your hands. But anyways, that's today's video. I greatly appreciate it. Like always, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel, and it's greatly appreciated. I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.